In the 1950s, the Bureau of Reclamation completed the Canyon Ferry Dam on the Missouri River near Helena. The concrete structure replaced a timber crib dam that was built in the late 1890s. The new dam created Canyon Ferry Lake. You may be surprised to learn that under a part of that lake is a once thriving farm and ranch community. In our Montana Moment, Kevin Mackey and the underwater town.
Several miles north of Townsend, just beyond those fields and trees, under Canyon Ferry Lake is where the community of Canton once stood.
Canton was covered by the waters of the lake and is no longer there.
At the Broadwater County Museum in Townsend, Linda Huth pores through files, old letters, and newspaper clippings that tell stories of the underwater town. Canton is gone, but it leaves reminders of its once vibrant life.
When the lake is low, you can see a lot of the foundations.
The Bureau of Reclamation started building the new dam in the late 1940s. It's an important resource for electricity, flood control, and irrigation. It created Canyon Ferry Lake, a popular recreation area. The system benefits thousands of people, but there were trade-offs. Through eminent domain, the town of Canton and its farms and ranches were bought out.
The Bureau of Reclamation condemned the property, the farms and ranches around Canton, and those people had to sell to the government, but the government did pay them supposedly fair market value for their farm.
There aren't many people today who remember Canton as an actual town, with a main street, businesses, filled with families. Jay Meyer and his first cousins, Terry Sullivan Love and her sister, Gay Ann Sullivan Masolo, had neighboring farms in the Canton Valley. Jay, Terry, and Gay Ann were all children when the lake started covering Canton.
Well, I was 10 years old, so of course I was kind of oblivious as what was really going on, but I do remember my father. I think I remember him the most because he was so devastated.
Gay Ann and Terry's dad, Dan Sullivan, took over the farm that his dad had farmed.
And we planned on being there forever.
Jay was only 3 when the water started coming, but he learned a lot from his mother's diary from the 50s.
Trudy rode down to the lake on a horse with Hank to get our 3 cows and calves that were still down there. They had to get them out before the water reached them.
We know you can look up statistics and all that, but you can't look up what really happened to people in those days.
June 23rd, Hank cut some alfalfa in the lower field. It really isn't ready, but he's trying to beat the lake.
The Canton Valley could grow anything: sugar beets, corn, oats, barley.
Cattle, wheat, hay, pigs. And we had pigs.
The lake submerged many farms and ranches completely. It took 2/3 of the Myers farm.
And the water was only supposed to come up so far, according to the government surveyors, but it went way past that.
The water wasn't supposed to reach the Sullivan place.
We were told we didn't have to move because we were going to be safe, but seepage made us move.
Here at the old Sullivan farmstead, Terry Sullivan Love remembers when the water started seeping in.
People from Townsend every night come down and watch to see how far the lake had come up each night. Well, pretty soon it was surrounded our buildings, surrounded with water, the barn, granary. The water was about ready to come into the kitchen floor from the basement.
Terry says after having to prove to the government the family couldn't stay here, they moved the house and outbuildings to higher ground on the farm.
We stayed up there all summer. We had to haul water. We kept on farming.
But in the fall, the Sullivans picked up their house and moved to Townsend.
My mother was elated because she always wanted to go to town. I wasn't traumatized as a child because I got to move to town and we got running water. Out of bad comes good.
As a little 10-year-old, I thought it was real exciting to move to town, I'll be honest with you.
The farm itself is still in the Sullivan family today, but the farms of many Canton families disappeared completely. Some of the buildings were moved, others were burned. Terry was just a little girl and remembers it through a child's eyes as a kind of adventure.
Evening entertainment, we're going to go down and see the Gobb House be burnt down tonight. We're going to go down and see the Potter House be burnt down tonight.
But through the eyes of an adult, it was so much darker. Canton was a tight community, and every loss was Canton's loss as a whole.
Well, it was very hard when you saw all your friends and your relatives moving out to other counties. because she just lost all those connections.
Why would you want to sell your ranch to somebody that's going to flood it with water? And you were doing so well as ranchers, and you really helped the town of Townsend.
The Sullivan girls carry good memories of life on the farm along the Irish irrigation ditch.
And the Irish ditch provided a lot of entertainment for us, ice skating, making snow forts.
Plus, the Irish ditch was and remains a rich source of agricultural irrigation. Terry and Gayanne say life went on, and Townsend offered them new opportunities.
Memories, they're wonderful memories.
Terry takes us past the houses that were moved from Canton to Townsend so many years ago.
Neighbors in the valley. This is Dick Gale's house here.
Jay's parents bought a farm in Stevensville, but they never forgot losing so much of their farm in Canton, especially Jay's dad. Jay's older brother and his wife were instrumental in renovating Canton's St. Joseph Catholic Church.
This Sentinel on the Hill was moved from the town of Canton.
From the church on the hill, you get a long view of the lake and what had been the little town of Canton. Kevin Mackey, NBC, Montana.